Alright, tier list ooch time. Let's go. Alright, so ranked update for the 3-stack. This is where we're at. Looking pretty good. Feeling pretty good. Yeah, it's pretty sick because there's 55 days left of the season, I want to say. And we're at the point that, like, we ended last season, pretty much. And we had to, like, fight for that. And, like, yeah, really try, get on super consistently, play a lot, fight tooth and nail to get to that point last season. And now, this season, we're at that point with 55 days left. So, yeah, things are going really well, and hopefully they continue to do so. So, ranked's been a lot of fun, and gonna keep grinding and see how far we can take it. But yeah, this is a new peak for us, I believe. I actually low-key think my Season 2 peak might be, like, in the 80s, but, you know, if I can get on tomorrow and get, like, a win, then it'll probably be my peak as well. But yeah, stuff's looking really good, going well, and hopefully it does. And because of this, because of us, you know, having played this much ranked and, you know, gotten to this point, and I already finished World Tour this season, I already got Emerald all wrapped up and done with. Quick play, I'm honestly, like, pretty close to being done with quick play too. And ranked, we're at this point in a really good spot with a lot of time remaining. I'm pretty sure I'm done with the battle pass. If I'm not, I'm, like, right there. So yeah, point is just in a really good spot. And you know, there's 2 months left in the season, and with how much progress that we've made with all the different stuff, it's time for me to look for some other things to do. So it's tier list time, and maybe I'll do, I don't know, some other fun things like gameplay wise, and yeah, we'll figure some stuff out. But tier list wise, we could do like weapons and stuff like that at some point, but I'm gonna start with maps. And I think I did, this would be interesting to do because I think I did this map tier list for like the, I don't know, like last day Ruby grind stream that I did at the end of last season. I believe I did that. So, but I think I didn't upload it, I want to say. So this one I'm actually going to upload, and yeah, it'll be fun to go through it again and have the new map in there and see if opinions changed. I wish I had the old one uploaded so I could really compare, but I still remember most of it, I think. So we're just gonna go in order. I'm just gonna throw all the Monacos here, and then we'll go from there. So, all right. So surprisingly, I actually have quite a bit different opinions of the 3 Monacos, and this might be, we'll see. This might end up being a rare thing in this tier list. I think I'm gonna rate all 3 of these Monacos maybe in different tiers, even though they're all the same map, which is kind of insane, just based off the variant. And yeah, the reason why is because my opinion of the variants varies quite a bit, especially with Monaco. So Monaco, I don't hate Monaco as much as a lot of people do. I feel like Monaco is generally, like, I don't know, like for most competitive players and you know, not casual players, like players that probably put in, I don't know, at least 20 hours a week, like probably into the game and play super consistently. I feel like for most of those players, Monaco is probably on the bottom end, like probably like bottom 2. But for me, the standard Monaco I actually think is decent. I'm gonna leave this in B for now. It might go down to C later. We'll readjust at the end, but for now I'll just leave the standard Monaco in B. I actually don't hate it, like I said, as much as a lot of people do, I feel like. But standard Monaco I feel like is alright. It's not great, it's not my favorite, but it's definitely not my least favorite either, and it's just kind of fine, and I've had a lot of fun on it, to be honest. So yeah, I don't have the frustration moments that a lot of people I feel like describe that they have with Monaco. I feel like I know the spawns pretty well. Sometimes they're kind of dumb, but for the most part, generally I feel like I know them pretty well and have a decent time. Duck and cover, I definitely like duck and cover a step down from standard issue. Duck and cover, so the problem with duck and cover is that, you know, you think it's just like the duck at the top of the map, and it's just kind of like a gimmicky, like funny map variant, but it's not just that, right? Like it completely changes the map, like the middle of the map layout, and the church is like destroyed. And it's kind of cool visually to see that, to see the church destroyed, and to see that like rubble and whatever in the middle of the map. My problem with it is that I feel like it makes the map play significantly worse without the church. Like, the church is this massive piece of cover. Now, yes, it's also this massive vantage point that you could use in the middle of the map, but it's also a massive piece of cover that, you know, blocks a huge amount of the sight line from one side of the map to the other. And when you destroy that, the cross mapping, especially with weapons like the pike and stuff like that, just gets like really, really out of hand and really obnoxious. And I feel like duck and cover is the final round a lot of the time. I feel like it's very consistently the final round. I don't know if other people have had that experience, but when I play Monaco, I feel like I get duck and cover in the final round a lot. And I think duck and cover in the final round is like almost especially bad. Like, some of those cash outs without other teams in the lobby that you can maybe like take advantage of a third party are like insanely hard to retake with the spawns and the design of the map. So yeah, I think that having the church is a good thing for the map. I think that not having it puts it a step down. And then putting it a step down even further, I'm going to put suspended in D. I'm generally not a fan of suspended structures in general. I just don't like playing those cash outs. I don't like how aggressively you have to change your loadout to play around that map variant. I think suspended structures would maybe be better if it was more like Soul Under Construction, where, let's say, like, one of the cash outs was like guaranteed to be in like a normal location, and one of the other ones would be on a suspended structure, and it was always like half and half, instead of right now where sometimes they can spawn on a normal location, but the vast majority of the time they spawn on one of the suspended structures. Vast majority of the time, both the cash outs are on the suspended structures, and it's just a question of, do you feel confident in taking a one-on-one fight against one of those teams, or do you not, and feel like you have to take a third party to have a chance? Yeah, don't like how loadout dependent it is, and generally just don't enjoy the gameplay on suspended as much. I think it, you know, changes the gameplay too much in a bad way. Okay, moving on to Soul. So Soul, this could be a hot take. We'll see. But I think Soul, competitively, casually is a different story. Casually, I think it's fine. Competitively, from like a ranked gameplay standpoint, you know, eventually like esports standpoint, I think Soul is really bad. I think Soul is really bad. If there was picks and bans, in, you know, esports variant of this game, I would ban Soul. It would be like my auto veto. I would not want to play Soul like all the time. And genuinely, I would play Kyoto over Soul a decent chunk of the time. I really don't like this map. So the problems that I have with Soul is, I think that some of the cash outs are like obnoxiously hard to retake. The obvious one that everybody thinks of is Hospital, but honestly, I think Billboard is also really hard to retake. And I don't know all the callouts for this game, and we have like some specific callouts for our team. But the other one that's on the complete opposite side of the map from Billboard, the cash out that tends to spawn on that side, I'm not a really big fan of that one either. So like that, Hospital, Billboard, like those cash outs are just abysmal. And the only one is the one that's like in the mall. I think it's mall. What do you call it? That one's like pretty fair, retakeable, like decent, kind of interesting with the structure of the building. Like, I think that one's not bad. But the other ones I think are like kind of horrendous to retake. And yeah, I think this map puts a little too much on the defensive side. And another thing too is that I feel like the spawns, like the initial spawns, are like really one-sided on this map. And I feel like this map in like competitive games can come down to that a lot of the time. Like which team I feel like gets the spawn that I feel like is more favorable. And then that leads them to winning the first fight, and then there's just a whole snowball effect of them having defense on a cash out that's easy to defend, because most of them are easy to defend, and you get the idea, domino effect, snowball, and yeah. And some of the spawns seem really trolly, like not just like the initial spawns, but sometimes you'll get like the double Hospital, like both the vaults will spawn like right next to Hospital, and one of the points will be there, and then the whole entire, you know, whichever team qualifies in second comes down to whichever team can get to that first. which a lot of the time comes down to which team is lucky enough to spawn there off of dying, getting rewarded for dying. Like, I don't know. I could go on and on. I think that Seoul is just the most poorly designed map from a competitive standpoint and the most RNG map in the game. Yeah, from a competitive... Again, casual, it's like, okay, but from a competitive standpoint, I really don't enjoy it. And... I honestly think that they all might be an F for me. Nah, standard can go D, I guess. I feel like I'm being generous. I think I'm gonna put the other two in F. I'm actually gonna put Con at the bottom. And this might be another hot take. I think it was a take for a long time that a lot of people liked Con more than you know, like normal Soul or moving platform Soul. I actually like Con the least. My problem with Under Construction Soul is that it is always guaranteed, as far as I'm aware, for one of the cash outs to spawn in the construction middle of the map area. My problem with that is that it creates a very, very bad gameplay loop because of the other problem that I mentioned with Soul earlier, which is so many of the cash outs being so fucking easy to defend. So the problem with that, linked up with Under Construction, where one of them is always guaranteed to spawn construction, is that unless you're doubling the box every time, one of the teams is going to have to try to hold Con. And that team is going to have a nightmare of a game, most likely, because that team is probably going to get third and fourth partied the entire fucking game, because the other team that has the other point is likely going to have an insanely hard point to retake, because most of them are on this map, especially with people knowing how to play the game at this point, knowing what to do. Most of them are insanely hard to retake. So because of that, most teams are just like, well, trying to retake that point's probably fucked. Let's just go third Con. And then Con just gets thirded over and over. And then eventually the team that's defending the point that's super easy to defend is like, oh, they're all fighting construction. We might have a window here. And then they end up getting both fucking cash outs, and it's just a really shitty gameplay loop. I feel like that situation I just described happens on Under Construction like 90% of the time. It's really frustrating to me. It's not a fun gameplay loop from a competitive standpoint. And yeah, I really don't like it. Now, if Under Construction, if that middle open portion of the map was always on the map, but it was not guaranteed that a cash out would always spawn there, like if a cash out just like sometimes spawned there, like for example in Vegas, how sometimes a cash out will spawn on that top you know, middle area of the map. If it was like that, where like sometimes it would spawn there, but the area is always there, but the cash out doesn't always spawn there, that would be fine. That would be fine, and that would probably move like all Souls like up a tier for me, but that's not how it works. However, I do think they should change Soul in that way. I really do. I think they should make Con always on the map on every variant, get rid of the Under Construction variant, or, you know, remake it, and just have it be a normal part of the map, and redesign the cash out logic where it will sometimes spawn there, but not always. I think that would improve the map a lot. Skyway. I like Skyway quite a bit. Yeah, I like Skyway quite a bit. So I think I'm going to rate these pretty highly. I think Skyway is going to be all S and A for me. So all S tier and A tier. Yeah. I'm just trying to think about how. So High Rise is like the really high middle of the map variant. Standard issue is just the normal good old Skyway. Up, down, left, right has the platforms. Well, in general, I'm not as big of a fan of the platforms, so we're going to put that one in A. I think I'll put the other two in S. With Standard over High Rise. Although... Huh. I wonder if High Rise is actually better. I wonder if High Rise is actually better. I might put High Rise above Standard. I think the map... The way it sections off, I feel like it might be kind of the same idea as like the church in Monaco. High Rise might play better. I'm going to go with that for now. Maybe I'll change that down the line. But yeah, Skyway, I honestly don't have a lot to say about it because I like it. Like with those other maps, I had the critiques, but with Skyway, I like Skyway. The one point, like the offices point, is pretty fucking hard, but I feel like most of the other ones are not too bad. And even the offices one is retakeable. I don't think it's as bad as like Hospital, Kyoto, sorry, not Kyoto, Seoul, or maybe even like Billboard. I don't think it's as bad as like some of those ones on Seoul. So yeah, I like the cash out spawns. I like the look of the map. I like the, again, like I was mentioning earlier with the sight lines, there's a lot of buildings. I think the sight lines are worked out really well. There is some cross mapping, but I feel like the map does a pretty decent job of trying to avoid that a little bit. And yeah, I think it's pretty solid, pretty basic map, and I enjoy it. So I don't have much more to say because, again, I'm probably going to have more critiques on the maps that I don't like. On the maps that I like, I'm probably just going to be like, yeah, I think it's pretty good, and kind of move on. Sis Horizon. Smack that up to the top. And it's staying there. I don't think another map in the tier list, you can close the video. Nah, I'm kidding. But I don't think another map in the tier list has overtaken this one for me. I really like Sis Horizon. It's easily my favorite map in the game. Some of it might be a little bit of Season 2 nostalgia, a little bit, because I really loved the Season 1 and 2 time period for this. I still love the game. I still love the game now. But especially, I really enjoyed the Season 1 and 2 time period when the game was new. And, you know, figuring it out and discovering all the weird, quirky things about this game with the community and, like, experiencing that was, like, a really, like, one-of-a-kind experience. So I do feel really nostalgic for, like, that time of the game. So part of my love for Horizon might be tied with that because this was the first map that got released, and it got released with Season 2. So that might factor in a little bit. But I don't think it's the entire reason why it's my favorite map. I think it's just because it's good. It's just got, like, the standard, like, COD, like, 3-lane map design, basically, but just on, like, a really massive scale. And yeah, the sightlines are really well sectioned off. There are some really long open sightlines, but there are also some areas in the map where it tightens up quite a bit, and where you really have to commit to one side if you want to have that sightline. I feel like there's a really good balance of that on this map with the way that it's designed, which I think is really good, because I think it limits, like, the cross-map, like, obnoxious, like, just random third and fourth partying that you will have on other maps where, because the sightlines are so insane, you have a team that is not getting pushed at their other cash out and they have fuck all to do, but they have, like, pikes, so they're just shooting people just to be annoying. You know, that shit gets really annoying, and I feel like Horizon doesn't have that issue as much because of the way the cash outs are spread out, and again, like I said, the sightlines, way it's designed, way it's spread out, I feel like it doesn't really have that issue. Which is really nice. I feel like that really improves the way the map plays. Third partying on this map doesn't feel as bad to me. It doesn't feel as common. Most of the cash out locations are pretty good. The one that I would say could maybe use some adjustment is the one that I'm sure everybody will know what I'm talking about with any further explanation, which is the one that's, like, on the one corner of the map. I really don't think I have to explain it more than that. I think everybody would know what I'm talking about. But the one that's on that one, like, deep corner of the map with the big-ass cube vantage point above it, that point is kind of stupid. The one blemish on Horizon, it's still my top map, but that point is kind of dumb. But other than that one, I think most of the cash outs are pretty good. I really like the designs of the buildings. They're very unique and fun to fight in. And it really works that they added DMAT with this map, with this season, because I think DMAT in particular is, like, really fun to use on Horizon. It's really fun to finesse your way around the map with DMAT and with destruction as well, which obviously the game is designed around destruction, C4, RPG, whatever. Red barrels, like, all that shit is, like, really fun to work with on Horizon. I love the paths to, you know, get around the map a bit quicker, speed things up a little bit. I love the aesthetic. Yeah, I could go on. I really enjoy this map. It is a classic for me. This is like, oh, here we go. This is like the Raid. The Raid BO2. This is like the Raid BO2 of this game is Horizon. And Skyway can be, like, I don't know, like, standoff, I guess. But yeah, really like it. Love it. And would love to play it more often. I wish it showed up more. 'Cause some days I don't get to play it, and that makes me very sad. Kyoto, woo! Okay, maybe I still like Seoul slightly more than Kyoto. Kyoto Suspended is probably the worst thing in the game. I would put Standard... I'm gonna kind of, like, mirror... I'm gonna, like... Do I think Seoul Under Con is worse than Kyoto Suspended? The way I was describing it, I low-key might. I honestly might. I honestly think it is. I genuinely think it. I don't care if it's a hot take. I genuinely think it is. Like, again, from a casual standpoint, probably not. but this is like from mostly focused on ranked. Like that's mostly what I play now. So it's from that standpoint. From that standpoint, yes, I honestly think that it goes like this. Yeah, Kyoto is shit. I will give it credit though. I do think that Kyoto improved quite a bit when they made the recent update of allowing you to be able to like run and walk at normal speeds in the water. I think that improved the map quite a bit. So I will say that. I think that made a big difference. I think Kyoto is a lot more fun to play. That's funny. I just turned on the Season 3 soundtrack as I started talking about Kyoto. But yeah, I think that made the map a lot better. That being said, it's still just so fucking big. Some of the points are just some of the worst points in the game. Like, same problem as Seoul. I hate the bamboo section of the map. Like, the whole entire, like, forest section of the map you could delete, and I would not lose any sleep over that. Because I just really do not enjoy that portion of the map. I really do not enjoy playing in that portion of the map. And the one cash out that spawns in that bamboo area, I hate it. So yeah, visually it's the best map in the game. I will give it that. Like, visually, aesthetically, yeah, it looks fucking awesome. And another thing with the new update, like the water thing was cool. The new destruction with the pagoda, I think that's really cool as well. So just giving Kyoto some credit for some things, I think that shit's pretty awesome. So yeah, just trying to find some positives here. But other than that, yeah, just some of the cash out locations are just obnoxious. I really don't like the layout of the map, and it's just fucking massive. And generally, I'm just not a fan of the maps that are just like a little too big. Those are just usually not my cup of tea in these games. I much prefer like the cis or like even like Monaco-ish like size maps. I usually tend to much prefer that. Yeah. So yeah, I'm not a big fan of Kyoto. It's not very competitive. The spawns can be pretty shit on here sometimes too, which is obviously not fun because of how big the damn map is. I think the map could really benefit from what Horizon has with those jump pads that are like very frequently placed throughout the map. I think Kyoto could really benefit from that. And I think if they placed like a fuck ton of those around the map, I think that would improve it quite a bit. And I don't know about jumping up a tier, but maybe moving up a spot or two. Yeah, maybe. But yeah, it's just not my favorite. It's just not very competitive. Seoul and Kyoto are just easily at the bottom two for me. And yeah, that's just kind of how it is. Fortune. This one might be a hot take for me as well. I don't enjoy Fortune as much as a lot of people do. I think I'm going to leave it at top of B. Don't get me wrong. I don't hate it. But Fortune, a lot of Fortune's design comes from Soul, right? Like, Fortune almost feels like a remixed Soul. And I already mentioned with my problems with Soul. That being said, what I just said, don't get me wrong, it is a lot better than Soul. Fortune is a lot better than Soul, and it's a pretty good map. It's a pretty solid map. I do generally enjoy it, but not quite on the level of Horizon and Skyway. So therefore, I think it has to be lower a tier. If I'm gonna put it there, then now that I'm kind of looking at things, if I'm gonna put it there, Monaco should really just, yeah, it should probably be doubled up in C. I don't think Monaco deserves to be alongside it though. So I'm gonna change that right now. But yeah, for me it's B. I think a lot of people will have it A or S. I respect that. It is a pretty solid map, but personally, I have found some aspects of this map to be really frustrating, and I found that I have had some of my most frustrating games on this map. Maybe that's just a personal thing. I mean, it's a skill issue, fucking bad routes, bad plays taken by me. I don't know, maybe. But yeah, I just find that I have some really frustrating situations on it. And yeah, it's a better designed Soul, but I feel like it still has a lot of the same problems. You know, that one point on what would be the billboard building that's in the open courtyard, you don't even have to do any cash out manipulation. That point's insane and can be damn near just as hard to take as billboard on Soul. The hospital point on this map is it easier to retake than Soul Hospital? Yes, it is, for sure, but it's not much better. It's not much better. Um, and yeah, and it's kind of the same thing, because then that other side of the map with the, you know, the big mega pad in the middle and like the office-ish buildings like around, like it's like the mall, would be like the mall call out on Soul, but like that equivalent on Fortune. That building's pretty cool. I generally like fighting around there. I think that area is pretty cool. I also like Holtos, and like the more construction-y like area on the other side of it. I think that stuff is all like a lot better than what we have on Soul. So they did a good job with the remixing there, and just the fact that Holtos like middle area exists, middle portion of the map exists, and the fact that you can like actually like fully traverse it. Them basically like fixing that issue with the con variant of Soul, right? Because you actually have that middle portion of the map on Fortune. You very easily go through there and, you know, rotate very easily, very quickly to wherever you need to go. And that improves the map quite a bit. So I was being kind of negative in the beginning talking about Fortune, but at the end there I said like all the positive things and why I still do like the map. Like I'm talking about it kind of negatively, but again, I just think I don't like it as much as most people. It doesn't mean I don't like it. I still like Fortune. I'm still generally happy, you know? I'm still generally on the happy side when Fortune pops. You know, I'm not upset. So I still quite like it, but just not as much as those top maps. It's just got to be B for me. B for Bernal. Do I put Bernal in B as well? I think I might. I think I might go standard here, suspended down here. Yeah. Yeah, I think that feels about right for me. And yeah, I think that feels about right. I actually quite like Bernal. I don't love it. Again, it is bottom B, which is kind of like, and I think it, looking at the maps ahead, it might stay there. We'll see. Ah, man, these last few maps are kind of contentious for me. I'm not sure what I'm going to say about them, but we'll think about it. I'm genuinely not sure. I genuinely did not really think that deeply. I thought about it a little bit, obviously, but I didn't really think that deeply into where I'm going to rate Citadel. So I'm curious to see where I go with that. We'll find out live, I guess. We'll get the real thoughts, because, you know, again, I didn't think about it that much deeper than like, it might be around here. So we'll figure it out as we go when we get there. But back to Bernal. Yeah, Bernal suspended. Same problem as the other suspendeds. It is at the top for the suspended variants, though, because I do think it's the best. Because the Bernal suspended structures have like a little bit more like effort put into them. They're a bit more like intricate buildings. Well, not really building structures. Yeah, I guess they're already called structures. They're a little bit more like intricate structures, and I think they're a little bit more fun to fight in and around. And then obviously you have those mega pads that, you know, you can goo them off. There's some cheesy strats, but there's like way more zip lines to deal with. You have those mega pads like, some of the suspended structures are a little bit closer to buildings, so you can like more easily pad over, gate over, fucking grav cube over, maybe even, whatever creative, you know, solution you find. So I find that Bernal suspended is not bad. I feel like it addresses the issues that the other suspended, you know, variants have, and in a decent way. And I feel like it's not bad. So yeah, I don't mind it too much. I definitely prefer the standard variant though. That being said, and the standard Bernal I think is decent. The one problem that I have with it is that I feel like most games on standard Bernal, what ends up happening is the second wave cash outs, like the 12Ks or 15Ks if you want to count the plug money, whatever. Second wave of money that spawns into the map. I feel like the cash outs for that almost always spawn in the same like middle location, and then one of them spawns in the church. I feel like that almost always happens, and I really hate that set of cash outs, because I feel like that set of cash outs is almost more important than the last set of cash outs, even, which is weird. Because I feel like the church one is like so favored and so much easier to defend, and I feel like it's the exact same issue when those cash outs happen that like Soul Under Construction has, where one team has the way easy to defend point, so most teams are just like, fuck that, I ain't even trying to deal with that, and they all just third in the middle, and then eventually that team that's on church is like, yo, we're not getting fought, this is free, there's a wipe, and the last two teams are still fighting, and we have a window here, let's get in there. And then they end up getting both, and it's just like, I don't know, I guess you get rewarded for having the better location, but it's just like, it's just kind of bullshit. I don't really like that dynamic of gameplay when there's two different cash outs that are laid out like that. And again, I'm sure that you can find other examples of this that I'm describing on the other maps. I'm sure you can. But the two most obvious ones to me that stick out the most to me that I think of the most often are the Seoul under construction example and the Bernal standard one on that second wave. Again, with the church in the middle, that I just feel like always happens. Those types of situations, with those types of cash out spawns, I just think they're really frustrating. And I just feel like it happens a little too often on this map. And that's honestly the only thing that's keeping Bernal from being like A tier for me. I actually really enjoy Bernal for the most part. But that particular aspect of it with those spawns really frustrates me and leads to a lot of annoyance. And I can't really quite put it A tier because of that. But again, if they fix the spawn logic and change that, I might actually go A tier with Bernal. I actually really enjoy it. Yeah, I do. I really enjoy it. All right, well, I guess we're leaving the new map for last because we're doing Vegas next. I gotta think about this one. So we got Vegas Sandstorm, and Vegas Standard. So personally, I definitely like Standard more. But I do think that Sandstorm has some merits to it. And I think some people do like Sandstorm, and I get it. But for me, it's probably like this. Yeah, it's probably like that. I'll probably right there. Yeah, that looks great. It's probably like that for me. I don't know. I really like Vegas Standard. I think the map is sectioned off in a very like basic and obvious way for a 4-team multi-team game. You know what I mean? Like, you think about the layout of Vegas, you got, like, the 4 main quarters that are all kind of, like, squared and sectioned off, and then you got the, like, crossroads down the middle. And it's just such a basic, simple concept design that just makes so much sense and works for a 4-team, multi-team game. So, yeah, it's a very simple design, but a good design for a reason. Just totally makes sense for the way the game is designed. And generally plays pretty well. The buildings have a lot of unique, like, variety to them. There's the 4 different sections of the map, and they're all very, very different. One of them's, like, some apartment buildings. One of them's got, like, the massive casino stuff. One of them's got, like, the bar. One of them's got, like, some, I don't know, like, some testing shit. There's, like, that weird room with the tree and the rock, whatever. They all have, like, a different vibe to them, a little different feel to them, different to fight in. The cash-out locations, I find, are generally pretty decent, actually. On Vegas. Obviously, especially with the popularity of Winch right now, you can do some manipulation. You can make it a little bit not so decent. But most of the cash out locations I enjoy in Vegas, and I don't think they're that bad. So yeah, I just think Vegas is a very, balanced standard map. And another OG map, and I generally enjoy it. I think it's a pretty good time. And then, yeah, again, Sandstorm. For me, Sandstorm has to be lower a tier. I have a couple problems with it. One, I am not a big fan of, like, the visual clutter aspect in any map that, like, has that aspect. So just, like, literally, like, the Sandstorm itself, I'm just not a big fan of. I just don't think it's fun to play on. It's cool visually. It's cool from, like, a game design standpoint. It's cool from, like, a spectacle standpoint. But again, this is talking not casually. If I was playing casual games and just playing, like, World Tour, I'd be like, oh, the Sandstorm shit, this is kind of cool. But in, like, a ranked environment, I don't enjoy it as much. So, yeah, and, and I feel like the performance is a little bit worse. Maybe this is just a me issue. I don't know if anybody else experienced that as well, but I feel like the performance is a little bit worse on Sandstorm as well, probably because of the Sandstorm. That's another aspect of it, too. And I feel like I feel like some of the cash out locations get a little bit worse. I feel like some of them get a little bit worse. And a little bit more annoying to defend with this variant, in my opinion. So, yeah, Sandstorm's cool, but I don't enjoy it as much as Standard. Last, we have Citadel, and it's very tempting. I didn't do that on purpose. It's very tempting to just fill that slot in and then look at how, like, clean this looks. It's very tempting to do that, but I'm thinking here. Do I actually like Citadel there? Do I actually like it? Despite my hot take with Fortune earlier of putting Fortune B, I think I'm going to redo it because I'm just looking at this, and I really don't think Citadel deserves A tier. I like it. It's the new map, and, you know, maybe I would have given it A tier if I did this like a couple weeks ago, but that's why I didn't do it a couple weeks ago. That's why I gave it a month. I like it, but I don't think I think I'm gonna swap these. I'm gonna go back on my hot take. I mean, honestly, bottom A it might still be a hot take for some people. I don't know. I'm gonna go back on it a little bit. I'm gonna put Fortune up. I'm gonna put Citadel down. And I mean, I guess it works out because I mean, if you think about it, like it's like basically the same spot anyways. But oops. But yeah, I just thinking about it. I don't think Citadel quite deserves A tier. I like it aesthetically. It's really, really cool. But I don't know, like defensive wise, I feel like some of the cash outs are a bit cheesy. I feel like it's maybe a little bit too defensive sided, because we've put on some absolute clinics on this map of just like knowing spawns and just being able to just absolutely demolish teams before they even have a chance of like getting close to the cash out. And to me, that doesn't really feel great. Well, it does feel great when we're doing it, but like looking at it from an objective, like third person standpoint, it doesn't really feel great. You know, doesn't really feel great to watch. Doesn't really feel great to play. Well, again, it does feel great to play when it's working out for me, but you know what I mean. I made my point. But yeah, I feel like there's a few too many cash outs, and I feel like the spawns could maybe use some work. But yeah, a few too many cash outs that are maybe a little bit obnoxious to defend. Like the one that sticks out to me is the one on that side building that has that zip line that people love to bait people into that zip line to like destroy it. That spawn is obnoxious. Like the fact that you can very easily see that spawn from the building, like you can very easily play the windows in that building and literally see that spawn and call it out, I think is a bit obnoxious. Yeah, I'm not really a big fan of that spawn. I prefer when they get the spawn that's like on the other building or in like the middle portion of the map and then they can like pad across. I think it's a little bit more fair than that side spawn that tends to happen. So I'm not a big fan of that one. And then the other building, the massive like building that has like the same type of billboard-ish type thing that Soul has, I don't really love fighting around that building as much either, because I feel like that building can be kind of obnoxious to defend as well, because you just have so much height. And to be fair, they do have a few decent ways to get in, but I don't know. If you play around it, I feel like it's pretty easy to get some major damage on people before they even like get close to getting near the point. And yeah, it's a cool building. It's got a cool design, but I don't know. I think it's a little bit obnoxious. So yeah, like that point, that other side building point with the really shitty spawn that if you've played this map, you probably know what I'm talking about. Another thing with Citadel that I think is kind of weird is that what I talked about with Vegas having like the very obvious design, and you know, I would say like Fortune kind of has it too. And the map with the best example of it is like Horizon with that like 3-lane like classic style, but just on a massive scale because this game is obviously on a much bigger scale. I feel like Citadel almost feels like a 2-lane map, weirdly. I feel like it weirdly almost feels like a 2-lane map. Again, obviously on a much bigger scale, but I'm just thinking about it and it's like that's kind of how it feels. Like one side of the map, the side of the map opposite of that side that has the two buildings. One of them is like a server roomish type building. One of them's got that zip line I talked about, that 3-story building, and then there's like all the different jump pads around there. Like you have that side of the map, and then you have the complete opposite side of the map of that. And the complete opposite side of the map of that feels like it's missing something to me. Maybe that's just me, but it almost feels like it's missing something, or like something's like cut out there. Or like there's supposed to be a little bit more there around that like alleyway area, maybe another like side portion. Maybe that's just me yapping, I don't know. But that's just kind of how it feels to me. That it feels like almost a little incomplete there, and weirdly like a 2-lane map. Like maybe it's intentional, but that's just kind of how I feel about it. But yeah, I mean, I still enjoy Citadel enough to put it in B tier, and enough to put it ahead of Bernal, and I like Bernal quite a bit. But yeah, I quite enjoy it. Even though it does have some issues that I just pointed out, I do still quite enjoy it. The points that do work well, I do think are really fun to fight over. And again, I think it's aesthetically great. But again, some of the cash outs I think could really use some work. And the spawns, especially on this map, I think could really use some work. The spawns could use a pretty big redesign on this map. And if they got that redesign, I think that this map could actually be pretty good and maybe jump up to A tier one day. because I do like it. I do like it quite a bit. But again, after the hype died down and that new, you know, that new hype, that new excitement of it being a new map, especially because we didn't get a new map for a season, right? I think a lot of people were really loving it, myself included, and feeling really good about it just because we hadn't had a new map in quite a long time. But now that that's faded and now that that's fallen aside a little bit, you know, I feel a little bit more objective about it, and I feel a little bit more fair in that it's like, it's solid, it's a good map, I enjoy seeing it, but it's not my favorite. And another thing too, real quick, I wish I didn't play it as often, because it feels like they have this map in the rotation. I don't know if this is actually true or not, but to me, I want to know if other people have had the same experience. It almost feels like this map is in the rotation like twice as much as any other map. Because it feels like I play this map all the fucking time. Ever since this season's dropped, it feels like I play this map all the time. And if they did that for the beginning because of the new season, I get that, and that's fair. I want them to do that when a new map drops for like 2 weeks, right? For like 2 weeks. But after like 2 weeks, they should adjust it. And to me, it feels like they did that, but like forgot to adjust it back. I might be wrong. That might be conjecture. I might be totally off on that. That might not be a thing at all. But that's how it feels. And I've noticed other people say the same thing. So I wonder if there's actually something there with that shared experience, or if it's just anecdotal. I don't know. But yeah, that sums it up. So there's my tier list. I don't really have any other thoughts. I feel like I went through everything pretty well, pretty in-depth as much as I could. But that's what it wound up looking like. I feel pretty good about it. I do feel pretty good about it. I already made a couple changes, but I honestly don't think I want to make any other changes. I really don't. I feel pretty good about this. Yeah, I feel pretty good about it. Everything looks pretty solid to me. So yeah, you can always argue about it if you want, but I'm not going to. That's my tier list. And yeah. I will be doing another one in the future, maybe on some weapons or something. But for now, that's the map tier list. GG's. And I'm peacing out.